Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Ready?
Yes. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. And tonight, we on location at Thomas Jefferson High School. And I'm with my guy, Lawrence Bud Pollard, the veteran coach and championship coach at Thomas Jefferson. What's up, Coach?
What's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing, man?
Everything good, man?
Yeah, I'm a journalist now. I know this guy for over 30-something years, so we're gonna play like we don't know each other.
Oh, man, I watched the show, so I know who you are, man.
That's right. So, Coach, who introduced you to the game?
Well, who introduced me to the game? I want to say old man Chico at Victory Church.
Chico.
Oh, Marvin on my block took me to old man Chico. I was playing with old man Chico and Itchy Bob.
Wow.
With Victory.
Yeah, Itchy Bob, yo, salute. Two legends, Brooklyn legends, for
Itchy
sure.
Bob and Chico.
Wow. Where you come from in Brooklyn?
I'm from Bed-Stuy, I live on Halsey and Nostrand. Live on the same block as Gerald Green growing up, so he kind of was my role model, who I wanted to be like, and again, not too far from Boys and Girls and the Pearl thing.
That's right, and you was right down the block from your junior high school. You became a legend there.
Oh yeah, 258. The junior high school battles was legendary with 35 and 263 and the Brownsville guys and 265 from Fort Greene. We would have some wars.
Man, listen, I heard about this kid. Everybody's like, yo, Bud's killing 258. Because 258 is right around the corner from my brother's house.
Yeah.
And to go to the game and watch this kid was tall, but his jump shot was mean. Like early on in the 8th grade. Like he was like one of the top 8th graders in the city. I know you know him as a coach, but my guy had game. And this is why he's able to give it to the kids now, man. What was it like in 8th grade growing up, man?
It was fun. I mean, it was fun, and when I got to 8th grade, well, when I started middle school, I started playing Riverside Church. So I was around a lot of great players from young. And then we just played ball. I got on the train, half the time with no money, snuck on the train, get to your games. I'm playing at M-Corps, Citywide, LaGuardia House, all over New York City, man,
Wow.
just playing ball. And them days was the best. Just ball all day.
That's right, man. How old were you when you was traveling on the train going to all of these
I started
places?
like I was like 11, 12, going all the way to Manhattan by myself. I was the only one out of all my friends, I was the only one who took the ball serious. So, Gerald Green's walk around with them Riverside jackets. I wanted one of those and be a part of what he was doing with the traveling and all the notoriety that he was getting with basketball. So I took my talents on that train every day, the A to 59th, the 1 train to 116.
Listen, parents, listen. And this goes for you coaches too, and ball players. He was traveling at 11 years old. We talking about the 80s, it's crazy. I know we 2020, but it was just as crazy in the 80s. And if you want it and you dream it, you gotta go for it, all right? So, coming up, Gerald Green was the best guy in your neighborhood, the best player?
Yeah, the best player in the neighborhood. But he was the guy.
And that's who you looked up to?
I looked up to him right around his prime in high school and everything. He was the guy.
So when you was coming up in 8th grade, who were some of the guys that you battled against?
Against the Flames, the Marberries and those guys, the Coney Island Flames and the guys from Fort Greene. I remember those over there at St. Peter Clavers. There's a lot of wars over there.
Definitely.
And we played in the white guy CYO. We played in that CYO a little bit. And it was a lot of guys. There was a lot of guys that didn't make it. I mean, Maymo and those guys from Brownsville. A lot of tournaments in Brownsville and Bessie Head Pool. So it was a lot of players. But as we got older, guys started disappearing. I guess they started getting into other things. And by the time you get to high school, I'm thinking about a whole lot of guys who never ever played high school ball that was better than just as good as me or should have been playing. But somewhere along the line, you know, something else piqued their interest and they went a different way.
Yeah, it was a lot of traps back then for us to get into, and I think for guys like yourself and myself who stayed focused and stayed the course to get us to where we at right now, man, I just want to say salute to you, man.
Thanks, man.
I know it was hard, man.
Oh, it was hard, but I loved the game. Like, I remember, like, trying to get the golden hoops, sneaking golden hoops. I remember when there was a Doc Turner Classic at City College.
Right.
And I wanted to sneak up there to see Chris Brooks play. Who ended up taking me to college, being my, he was a senior when I was a freshman at West Virginia.
Okay.
So watching those guys play up at City College and different tournaments all around the city, I love to go watch guys. I remember when I was younger, we used to go watch True Carter play out in Queens. I remember him and Boo Harvey and those guys. So a lot of times I'll be traveling on the train just to go watch those guys play. Climbing on the gate, watching those guys that soul in the hole. I just love the game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you was definitely one of those guys. I like to see him everywhere at all the games, because when he was finished playing, we played. Or when we played, he was, you know, their team was about to play. But coming up in the city, we had a lot of different high schools that we could choose to go to, right? And he said he grew up in Bed-Stuy, but I'm quite sure he could have went to Bishop Loughlin, St. Ray's, Tarleton, which was a Riverside school. What made you go to the high?
Well, I actually went to Western House for 6 months. I was in Western House because, you know, the
Breaking news.
I was there with Hirsch. I got in bed with Hirsch. I got real close to Hirsch and the Gerald Green thing, and I ended up going to Western House. But I didn't like riding the train. I didn't like it down there. Then it was I almost got killed, and Keith Stroud saved my life, man. We was down there. We went to Erasmus, and it was just, you know, them guys waited for us after the game, and I was like, you know what? I want to be at the high. I want to walk to school. Want to be in a neighborhood school, and I didn't like Western House like that. I ended up, Jay-Z was in my class in Western House.
Wow.
So I went to school with him. He was in my class, I remember that. But it was cool, but, you know, the high was more for me. You know, the coaching was better. You know, I just felt more connected with Brown than the Turk. And the whole thing, everything about the program. I don't think Turk was the type of coach that, he wasn't really traveling, even though that year I was there, we was good. Mm-hmm. And we had Hassan and Shane and all those guys, Magic. Right. And we was loaded, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to take my talents to the high, you know?
Yeah, and from what I know, Hassan told me first, and then Gerald Green told me, and then Keith kind of confirmed it, that Turk wasn't really a coach. He was more of a teacher that kind of coached on the side. So guys didn't really practice, and there was no real program. He had great players, but he didn't install a program that Paul Brown had.
Yeah,
you know, and I didn't even know that until they told me.
Yeah, you know, and you know, it's like a lot of coaches today, like especially in the public school system. If you have the license and you coach, and you know, it's good money in there. Like, you know, if you coach in high school basketball now, it's like $53 an hour when you work in per session. So, if you're in the building, you got the license, you'll take the job, but everybody's not in it.
No. And the kids suffer for it at the end of the day.
Sure.
Now, he don't mean no harm, but that's just the way things were, because I always question, how did we beat Western House every year in the first round when they had better teams than us? Mm-hmm. But we have Bobby Hartstein, right?
Mm-hmm,
you always have a good coach behind you, which you have become now, but we're going to get into that later. How was your years at the high?
Oh, my years at the high was great, man. I thought it was a lot of better players. Like I kind of listened to your story about you making a team, and my freshman year, Brown brought me in there, and I didn't play because I played at Western House.
Right.
Then I ended up going to, but I didn't play the second half of the season because I had transferred. But I'm walking in that building. It was the first year Mick was there.
Yes.
So
and he
Mick,
kicked everybody out.
Everybody. So I remember the best players. I thought two of the best players in the school was like Wolfie, Carmelo Anthony brother. I was to play with them at Visitation Hawk and Red Hook. You know, God bless. I forget his name. Coach, what's in with the glasses? The white guy with the glasses. Murray, Coach Murray, and those guys, you know, all those guys. And Coach Ed, I would play out there in Red Hook with them all the time. And I would love to know how they doing. But anyway, like it was Wolfie and Artie Lawyer. Artie and Wolfie was like the best 2 players in the school, and they wasn't on the team. Nuki, I thought Nuki is one of the best guards.
Nuki
was like
Pearl.
Baby Pearl. I'm like, yo, all
Yes.
these guys on the team, like, I ain't making this team, Brown, but I was on the team, and for whatever reason, he wasn't on the team. And then Obet Vasquez, Tree,
Yes.
we talked about.
Yes.
And a lot of these guys, we used to play at Riverside, and we took that long train ride home. And those was epic on that train coming from Riverside after practice. And but those guys never made it, and Mick kicked all those guys out.
Yes, yes. My guy Ra, hope you don't mind me telling this, was part of that crew.
That Mick kicked out?
Yes, right? And it's my guy Ty Law, father.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? This is why he makes sure his son go on the right route.
Yeah.
Right? The guard, Ty Law.
Yeah, all right.
He told me, he's like, yo, I was part of that crew when Mick came in, and he kicked everyone out. And these are a lot of my friends, man. He kicked the whole Brevoort, Jackie Robinson, Albany Projects out the school if you wasn't doing the right thing. Now, you were saying that you don't know how you made the team, but a lot of those guys wasn't as heralded as you coming out of junior high school. Let's say that, okay? He was one of the first dudes in New York City who was like heralded in the 8th grade, besides like the Kenny Andersons, Stephon Marbury's.
Brooklyn.
Bub was definitely one
But you know,
of them.
the funny thing, they used to call me Future. I was the first Future.
That's right. That's right.
I was the Future before Malloy.
We used to call you Future instead of Bud.
Everybody called me. Then when I went to Riverside, Anton Merchon, I think him and Floyd, those guys, they used to call my house, and my grandmother was sounding country, so the Riverside guys used to call me Country.
Wow.
So they all called me Country because the way my grandmother sounded, that accent, I had a little bit of that in me too, being around my grandmother. But yeah, so they used to call me Future, then Country, and you know what I'm saying? But I was the first Future.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Who helped you develop that sweet jump shot, man?
I don't know, I just went in the park, and a lot of times I was in the park by myself. So when you by yourself, you know what I'm saying, you dribble, but I either love to shoot. And I knew when you got to the park and they picked me to play with the older guys, I couldn't go in there.
Gotcha.
So I had to stand outside. In order for them to keep picking me, I had to do something, bring something to the table.
Right.
So I know I was shooting that ball, bop. And then back in the days, you know, it was hot, no fan, nothing. I would be in that park all night dribbling that ball. So that was one thing I love to do, is just shoot all night. We didn't really have nothing on TV like that. You stay outside, you hang out, you know, like
4 channels.
You know,
listen, back then, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you went to the park back then, if you didn't get picked, you waited all day. You have to wait all day till everybody leave to play. It was important that you had your game up to par so the older guys would pick you. And you will learn how to play and develop your game playing with the older guys. And this is why he was one of the best shooters in the city around the time when he was in high school. All right? So let's move to the years when you started to come into your own at the High. What year was that?
Yeah, well, pretty much my sophomore year I was playing, I was starting. We had Sean Troutman, a few of those guys. We had a pretty good team. And then playing with Riverside, and that year in 5-star, going into my sophomore year in 5-star, I had a great summer and a great 5-star at the end of the season, at the end of the summer. Ended up scoring like 40-something in the developmental league all-star game. I started getting recruited. And I remember the first coach that called me was Calipari. You know, he's the first coach that called my house, and I was ecstatic. I like, wow, and I started getting all this mail. And then he called me again and told me he was leaving Pitt and he was going to UMass, right? So this is my sophomore year. So then, you know, I was cool with Billy Bano, you know what I'm saying, because of the Hirsch. Hirsch had me around a lot of these guys, and once I started getting recruited, and after that summer, the rest was history.
He mentioned this guy named Hirsch. Hirsch was a special ed teacher at Westerhouse that loved basketball, and he would take his time to expose guys like myself, Bud, Future, you can name them. We could go forever. Jason Williams, Sweet Pea, everyone played with Lloyd. I mean with Hirsch. And he would take us up to Saratoga Springs. We would play against
the prison teams.
I
got about 8 stitches right here from that game.
Okay? And his partner was this guy named Richie the Fixer. We'll get to that another time.
Oh yeah, Richie. And Ron and Clario was his man. That's how I know.
That's right, those three.
So I met Ron in like 7th grade, him and Hirsch at the junior high school tournament, and I became tight with Hirsch. That was like my guy.
Yes.
That's why I do the Hirsch Classic every year. That really means a lot to me. Hirsch was a guy who did a lot for me as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Exposed me to a lot of stuff and exposed me to people that I didn't know about then, they were in society, but looking back at it, I'm like, wow, this is what Hirsch was involved with and who he knew, but we talk about that off camera.
Oh, it's crazy. Look, he was the first guy to take me to my first nice restaurant. And let me just explain this experience. We used to show up to the restaurant sweaty in uniforms and go to the nicest restaurants. And the restaurant will be packed. The people will come out with tables like the mob movies and bring us tables and set us up. It was amazing. Okay.
But speaking of mom, Hirsch was kind of connected. Hirsch was one of them Jewish guys I think that was kind of connected.
We're going to talk about that another time.
Yeah, we talk about that another time. So, but he did show us, he did do a lot for us and take us, expose us to a lot of different things. And he was married to a black woman who's also educated, but he also educated us, you know, about a lot of different things about life. And I really appreciate the role he played in my life as a coach and a teacher.
No doubt. And I was one of the lucky ones who played from Lincoln because my coach always told us to stay away, and I'm the only guy who kind of stayed. So
your coach just told you to stay away from Hirsch?
Yes.
But he was tight with Hirsch was tight with Jack Ringo.
Yes.
He was real tight with Jack Ringo.
But then that's another story we'll get to. There's so much history right here. All right. So let's get to the question of the night. Who asked did you bust in the city you thought that you was one of the best guys in the city during that time?
Oh man, it was back then. It was so many players.
So let me pull up the article.
You know what I'm saying? And I was looking through a lot of the articles and I was looking at Ephraim. We said like he was mad he wasn't McDonald All-American, but there was so many players. And in my senior year, I didn't make All City because we got upset by Ephraim and them. So Ephraim and and Big Hector made it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like second team, you know, because there was so many players.
Right.
And you had to give it to them because they ended up beating us. We beat them every year. And the reason we lost that game, I had about 25, and I missed 2 free throws, and they went on a little run, and I just didn't finish the game. And that haunted me to this day. And my high school coach brought that up to me 10, 15 years ago. He said, yeah, bud, we should have won that year. That was my year, and you missed those free throws. He brought that up to me like 20 years later, and that's bothered me. But we had 6 Division I players on that team.
Right.
Myself, Mike Pollard, Will Davis, 7'2", he went to Miami, and Wolford Concaldi, he was on that team, but he had got thrown out. So Mick, I got rid of him, so he didn't end up playing, which would have helped us because James Hector kind of dominated us. But we had 6 Division I players on my high school team as a senior.
Wow.
So we had 6, but I mean, as far as guys who I played against, like I took a lot of L's and I gave a lot of, I took some buckets, but I gave a lot of buckets. But I was a really good defender. You know what I'm saying? On my Riverside team, you had 5 McDonald All-Americans. You know what I'm saying? You had Reg, you had the Reeses, you had the NK, who's like KD, who was the best player.
Yes.
He was MVP, and then we had Khalid a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You had a lot of players. You took my Aunt Pell, Chanel Scott. You know, you had so many.
I'm seeing tomorrow. I gotta bring your picture, Chanel.
Yeah, so we had so many players that was good. I mean, that Big East players, Lee Green, God bless the dead, like from day, and we all played with each other from young. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had to stop a lot of guys. I always knew I was gonna play because I had to guard the Grant Hills, the Penny Hardaways, the Bobby Hurleys and those guys. So I said I'm gonna play because I'm gonna guard those guys.
That's
so
right.
That was my
hold on. Listen, did you hear what he just said? When you're a ball player, you want the smoke. You want to be involved. Why hold a dude who ain't shooting? You hear the guys he was holding? He wanted the smoke. And that's the difference when you're a ball player. You want to be involved, whether it's offense or defensively. What was the schools that started recruiting you after your senior year?
My senior year, I was down to I had Texas Tech, because we went out to Lubbock. Mm-hmm. They liked me, and we played out there, and they liked me. And we played on their campus, because back then you played on their campus.
Yes.
So it was down to them, Rhode Island. I like Rhode Island. They had Carlos Easton, a lot of the guys. So Abdul Fox, Dre Samuel, a lot of us from this area went there. But then I have West Virginia, had Florida State, God bless it, there. Eggman was there. I had a little bit of St. John, but they took Lee Green, so you know it was a lot going on. And but my last 3 schools was it was Maryland, Florida State, and West Virginia. And when I went on that West Virginia trip, you know, I kind of looked up to Chris Brooks as well. He's from the Bronx, Ron Brown from the Bronx. Even though Roger McCready was recruiting me a little bit from, he was recruiting me. He was at Maryland, and those 3 was my final schools. You know, actually Rhode Island too. I was considered in Rhode Island and Rutgers, but those 3 was my main 3.
So Chris Brooks had a hand in bringing you to West Virginia.
Yeah, because you know, I looked up there. He was the guy. I remember going to Doc Turner just to see him play for Oak Hill when Oak Hill came to town. And Doc Turner was like one of the biggest tournaments in the country at City College. You know what I'm saying? That tournament was off the chain. So, so I ended up going there. Chris Brooks picked me up, drove me to school my first year. You know, and you know, it was a good experience. I had a great time down there in West Virginia.
Cool. Do you want to elaborate more on what happened?
Yeah, you know, my career didn't go as like I planned. You know, after my sophomore year, the NCAA tournament, me and my friend Wilfred from Brooklyn, my best friend, we was going back to school, and I had a bad car accident. And you know, he was like 6'11", you know what I'm saying, and he lost his leg in an accident. I shattered my hip, and our careers was basically over. And we stayed in school. They paid for the school. I was on the team. I was able to still be on the team, practice, and be around the guys, but I wasn't well enough to help the guys. And I was supposed to come back as a junior as a starter. We were supposed to build off that NCAA year, and it never happened for me. You know, so I stayed there. I got my degree, and they like me. And it's important for kids to understand. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice for people to like you. Because they paid for my grad school. They got me in the School of Medicine, so I got my master's from the West Virginia School of Medicine. And they paid for everything, so I got 2 degrees for free, came back to the town felony free, you know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed. And then when I take the team up there for team camp and tournaments, they roll out the red carpet for me. And to this very day, we go back, and man, you know, I have a great relationship with Huggins, and they take care of us. You know, and Wilfred wasn't able to continue to play on the team. Eventually, they tried to save his leg, but after a year, they just cut it off. But I didn't know so he's around. He's doing well now. You know, and it's a funny thing. I haven't spoken to him, and you know, life takes you different places, and it's basketball. And I just seen him on what's the guy named from Wallow on Gorilla, the 2 Philly guys?
Oh yeah, Wallow 267.
Yeah, because you know, when he got kicked, I just seen him drinking out of boot on his show.
Really?
With Rasheed Wallace taking shots out the boot. So I thought that was funny.
Wow.
I called him up, and it made me think I need to do a better job of reaching out to guys. And so during this pandemic, I tried to reach out and reconnect with a lot of guys. You know, since I know we busy, and life and basketball takes a lot of your time up. But that experience in West Virginia taught me a lot, you know, because you never know when the ball comes out the air for you, because it comes out the air for us all, but I didn't expect it to go out that way, you know?
Right.
I didn't expect it to go out that way.
Well, I kind of wanted you to elaborate. I didn't want to dig deep if you didn't want to, because I know it's a very touchy situation.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a lot of lessons that can come out of this.
Oh, definitely. It's a big part of my life, and you know, and I never thought I would be here coaching. You know, I didn't plan on being a coach. I love the game. I love going to the games and watching guys, and watching Tiny and Roof and those guys coach, and Todd Miles and those guys, but I never wanted to do that. You know, I enjoyed watching them, and then I got here by accident. My principal was working at 174, who was working with me at 302, and she was like, well, come over here and coach my team, because the new principal that came, he wasn't into sports, and he was giving me a hard time. So I was volunteering. I was like, well, I don't need this stress. It's something I'm volunteering to do. So, you know, so when she called me over here, you know, we didn't have a gym, so I started working that gym over there, the other gym. So the AD and the coach at the time came to see me like a couple of days working with the kids. So they walked up to me one day and said, hey, we need a coach here next year. We think, would you like to coach here and try high school coaching? I said, let me think about it. So I thought about it. I called Sel up to Sel, I got this job. I want you to be the assistant. We're going to start a JV program and get it rocking. And then I came in my first year. And
Hold on. Because he's saying it like all this was here. He's saying this like he was walking into something great.
Oh, nah. But I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. I mean, when we took it, you know, I didn't know what to expect, because you know, And it's a learning experience because
Yes.
I didn't understand my coach and the coaching aspect of it in college, high school, until I started coaching. So now I was able to go to my teammates and some of my friends and my peers like, hey, coach wasn't bugged. Because everybody think the coach is bugged.
bugging,
We don't understand. I never understood in my adult years until I started coaching.
Right.
Then I realized what it takes and what coaches have to go through and what they do. Because I say, you know what? When I went to college, I wanted to do accounting or something. But I was like, oh, this is too much. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. I'm going to be a phys ed teacher like Coach Brown. My Coach Brown was cool. Phys ed, did like he worked hard. He was always chilling.
Right.
But I mean, once I started coaching that first year, I was like, wow. And then it sucked me in. It sucked me in. I went in both hands, head, and both feet. So, and when we came here, we had a lot of work. And one of the things we had to change the culture. We had, Jefferson had a lot of winning history and tradition, but that faded over time. So people forgot about all these champs and all these different sports and draft picks and Heisman Trophy winners. They forgot about all this. And so I had to come back, change everything, the culture in here from the facility. We had the worst facilities, the worst schools. So I said, in order for us to be the best, we got to make everything better in here. So we had to come in here and revamp everything for all the facilities. That's why I took you on the tour, showed you our locker room. Wanted to make sure we had the best locker room, the best everything, the best game day setup, from the chairs to the tables, to the lights on the backboard, to both gyms. We got both gyms done.
Listen, he not talking. This is like a Catholic school. I've been to Catholic schools and everything is just laid out. And people, when we get down to that weight room, in the locker room he personally built, y'all gonna see the hard work that went into bringing back one of the greatest high school basketball programs in New York City history. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, and people don't understand. There's a lot of talent that went through here, like in all sports. From Sean Dunston, who was the only player in New York City to be the first pick in the Major League Draft, I think.
Wow.
He walked in here one day. I remember Sid Green walked in here with some people from Chicago Bulls. So a lot of times people come back and want to come back and see the old neighborhood and show people where they went to school at and different things. And, as we travel around the country, we meet people and they say, hey, I went to Jefferson. Like, I didn't know, what's the coach name that does ESPN Game Day now? Seth Greenberg.
Yes.
Red from Syracuse, Agent Autry, said that Seth Greenberg's father played here and his mother was a cheerleader here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
My coach, Bobby Harstein, went to Thomas Jefferson.
He said he got
looked up to Tony Jackson.
Yeah, he said he got the Jefferson jersey in his basement, and you just run into people, and a lot of influential people in his neighborhood was a lot different, but a lot of people went here. So we wanted to come here and bring that back, and I think we did a good job, doing that. And then today was a special day here when we got kids like Jaquan signing a 4-year scholarship, kids from the community. And his mom and dad are here, and they get the chance to watch him play in a nice arena campus at Hofstra, and they don't have to pay a dime. And when I Google the tuition's like $58,000, and that's not even count like room and board and all the other stuff.
That's right.
So you're looking at $250,000, and he's a kid that definitely deserves it. So I mean, it's a good thing that we're here in the community. The kids don't have to go far. You can make it right here.
Or you sent right before him, sent one to St. John's.
Yeah, you get
still right here in New York City.
And right now, Rasheed Dunn.
Shamari
Pons, but also on that team was Rasheed Dunn, who's a senior at St. John's now, and he's their best player. And we have a list of them, from Isaiah Dees from down the block, and that was just graduated from LaSalle, and it's a whole lot of guys. I'm from Keith Spellman in Jamaica, and those guys that started it. You know what I'm saying? When I came from Bed-Stuy, I'm from Bed-Stuy originally. My family went to Jeff. My family right here from Livonia and Sheffield. And not Livonia, Riverdale and Sheffield, and they all went here. But they play football, So it felt good to come back for them to see me here, a Pollard here, doing what I do and being successful and changing things around. And it makes me feel good when people come back and they know how it used to be and how it used to look and how they see it now. You know what I'm saying?
I told you I saw the 1983-84, and this should look like a jail. For real, and I'm not just saying it just to be trying to sound nice on camera. I was telling Bud this earlier. When we played here, the floors are slippery. They had cages everywhere. It just looked like someplace you didn't want to send your kid at the time, right? So the revamping he has done, the changing of the culture, how long did it take you, right, from day one to start seeing winning results?
Well, I think after the first year, I think when we first came here, the staff and everything and the vision, we had an athletic department meeting with the principal. Mac McDonald was the principal then. He was a great girls coach at Manhattan Center. He was the principal here, so they used to win it. All right, have a seat. So when he gave us a job in the program, and we told the coaches in the meeting our vision and where we trying to go. Like, for example, there's no bleachers in here.
No.
Everything was like we had to get everything out of here.
No.
From the past,
Facts.
it was
And there was a bunch of garbage and stuff up there.
it was crazy. So
Yeah.
we had to get the lights, we had to get them to believe. So, we had to put our work in, use our resources. You know what I'm saying? God bless the dead. Mr. Lodge helped us out a little bit when we first got here with uniforms. We didn't have nothing. We started with nothing. We didn't have a basketball. We didn't have nothing. Went to Mr. Lodge, we got some basketballs, some uniforms, and then we started working, selling peanuts, popcorn, hustling, people helping here and there. And then as we started to win, people started seeing, believing and seeing, they started helping. And then, one day we was going to the garden, I brought in the Councilman Barron, and he was like, we got one, I need you to come here. I said, there's no way we have all these people that come through here in a type of program, but our facilities are the worst in the city and look like this. He said, you're right, I'm gonna send my girl down here, tell her what you need. And sure enough, he came through. You know what I'm saying? He put millions of dollars in the facility. He changed everything in here, in the gyms. All right, guys, good night. All right, so he changed everything in the facility. He changed everything as far as the pool, and he helped us. He just finished up the weight room last year, so he's been doing this for over the last 5 or 6 years. You know what I'm saying? He started up, like I said, with the gyms, weight pool, and those things takes years to go through the board of red tape. So salute to him, still believing in the vision and helping out.
Definitely. Salute to Councilman Barron and all he have done. And even, do you know he's part of the Black Panthers?
Yeah. Yeah,
He's been fighting for a long time for us in our communities.
Yeah, we won the state championship in 2016. He honored us up at the house, at the state house, stayed in front of all the politicians. And he got up there and he said that speech, man. Everybody was like, oh, I was nervous. But he's a strong brother, man.
Yes.
And you gotta love him, man, because he for his people, man. He say what he say and he mean what he say.
That's right, that's right. So when y'all see that picture of him holding up that trophy, that was that special year.
Oh yeah,
when
definitely.
He took everything, man. How was that feeling, man? Just
it was good because I lost like 3 or 4.
Yes.
maybe 5. My championship record sucks, man. I'm like 1-8 in the Garden.
But you gotta be in it to win it.
Yeah,
That's
I'm like
what
1-8. I lost I think I lost 5 or 6 and won that one and won the state. But yeah, I think I'm like 6 and 1-6, 1-5. But hey, at least I'm getting there, but my record there sucked. I lost 2 by 1. I should have won last year. I would have had a good chance last year, and definitely, hopefully we can get some basketball in this year. I think I got a good chance. But I always got a pretty much chance because of the culture here. We work hard, and the one thing they do, they give us gym time. You can't replace gym time and hard work. So we always gonna have a chance as long as we got those 2 things put together. But it felt good. It felt good, but you know what? The pain, the joy of winning is nothing like the pain of losing.
Yes.
Because even when I won it, I was more so happy that I didn't lose, so I wasn't sad. Like when you lose a chip, like you go home, like that night, it seemed like it's always sunny, and that night never ends. That next morning you wake up, it's like the worst morning in the world.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Then everybody know, oh, bud ain't coming to school 2 or 3 days. So I don't take days off, and
right.
then it lingers on like a bad toothache, and then hopefully as summer get around, you start, because remember it's like March, so you just wait for the rest of the year to be over so you can get back to it next year. But when I won it, I was like, whew, at least I ain't depressed the next day. So it wasn't really celebratory. We didn't really celebrate. We celebrated, we did it up for the kids, but it was just more of a release that we didn't lose. So it's hard, man. Somebody gotta lose those games.
Yeah. But like I said, you gotta be in it to win it. That's important, and a lot of people don't even get that chance.
Yeah.
To say, you won a city championship, either as a player, as a coach. A lot of people are sitting back now saying they wish they won one.
Yeah, And a lot of people, what I realized, like I explained to the kids, you know, you give that speech to them, like, listen, you guys got to play in the Garden, the Barclay, you know, and no, a lot of kids don't get to experience that. And, you know, and we try to give our kids here as many experiences as possible because we know sometimes where they come from, what they go through. So, like every year, like this year, even with Jaquan, our guys, this year it's a little down because every year we usually get on a plane and go somewhere for Christmas. You know, so we pride ourselves like trying to go to the West Coast. Last year we went to Vegas. The year before we went to Phoenix. So, you know, we get those guys out there, see a Suns game. And, you know, one year we took the team to Puerto Rico, you know, and Sel and myself, we went like 5,000 apiece.
Wow.
And we took the team to Puerto Rico. We ended up losing to DeMatha, and DeMatha was kind of loaded. They had like Open Depot, what's his name? From
Oladipo.
Oladipo.
Yes.
They had him. They had the Grant brothers. They had Kyle Cook, Quinn Cook. They had about 5 or 6 pros on that DeMatha team.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So we went out there and took them out there and just good experiences, man. And we played against a lot of tough guys over the year. And I like to take the guys out of New York to play against the best around the country. And, you know, our guys pretty much represent well and represent the town well.
So let's go back to our conversation we had months ago where we talked about the culture of New York City, right? The first question I want to talk about is, why do other guys from other boroughs don't come to Brooklyn to play?
Well, you know what? Brooklyn is considered a tough place to play far as the commute, the pathways you have to go to get to the gym, and the pathways you have to leave. A lot of the wolves are in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Even if you come here, like you played here, like when I played in high school, you know what I'm saying, we worry about the commute from the game more than we worry about to the game.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and then when you, like, you know, I was never one of those type of guys, but you know what I'm saying, it's just part of Brooklyn basketball. You know, they said Manhattan to make it, Brooklyn take it, Queens, whatever. You know, that song.
At 11 years old, you was traveling to different boroughs getting.
But I wasn't scared because I wasn't into a lot of things that other guys are into. I wasn't scared because, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't raised like that. Like my grandmother, you know, Bud, go outside and play, and I go come back bleeding, bloody, whatever happened, you know, patch it up, go back out there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was able to, you know, they gave me that freedom. I'm glad they did, because I was able to explore and learn a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I think just, you know, just Brooklyn, a lot goes on in Brooklyn. It's a big borough, a lot of people. And, you know, when you're walking through certain neighborhoods, the problem with people that from outside of Brooklyn, when you're walking through Brooklyn, the people from Brooklyn know you're not from Brooklyn. So when they see you, you like food. It's like a wolf. Oh, this guy right here, this guy, like, you know who's who and where you're from. Like, you know people from, that's not from New York City. You know people from Long Island. You know a Harlem guy. You know a Brooklyn guy. Even in Brooklyn, you know a Flatbush guy from a Bed-Stuy guy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think people know. And then, you know, kids prey on kids, you know, in certain areas, in certain communities, even if you're from the same borough. So, you know, and a lot of times in Brooklyn, around our parks are always surrounded by projects. So you know what happens, like, you know, when like everybody couldn't come to Brevoort and play.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You come to Brevoort to play, the crowd talk shit. If you got out of line or something happened, you got to walk through them projects to the train, to Ralph, to Fulton. So, you know, it's a lot to come with that, you know?
True. What can you say as a coach as far as New York, right? New York basketball and where it's at right now and where we should be going? What do you think we need to do to get to that next level? Well,
I don't know if I have the answer to this, but I think one of the problems with New York, we have too many teams. Have too many. Like when I was coming up, it was
high school teams or AAU teams.
Well, both. It's 1,000 high schools now. Inside of high school, it's 1,000 high schools now. Inside of high school, you got more than one high school team. Like we're Jefferson campus now, so we got 4 high schools in here. We have one team. Some high schools that are campuses have more than one team.
Facts.
So now you got to split gym time, schedule time. So that takes away. And then you got too many coaches that are coaching for all the wrong reasons. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some they gonna coach for the money, for the pension, it's pensionable. They're not really coaching for the love, like, you know, coaching for the love. But I think it's too many, it's like I said, too many teams, too many AAU teams. Because back in the days, you had to be a certain player. Like, I meant to bring you a clip, but I sent you some of them, like from Golden Hoops. Like you had to be on the Riverside Bronco. Like
Yes,
I remember
yes.
Aim High got in for the first year.
Yes,
Gave
there was
us,
only like 3 or 4 teams.
yeah, Aim High that first year they
Right.
got in, and they killing us. They killing us, and Mike Pollard is killing us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was just, you know what I'm saying? It was tough, and those guys didn't really travel like we traveled around the country, but you know it was. And then you had to. We traveled 10 deep. It was 10 major college players on your team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't just 1 or 2.
It wasn't just 1 or 2, and everybody played. And we never had a problem with people playing, people being selfish, and we was trying to win, and we was trying to
Right.
represent. You know, and we was all well taken care of by our coaches, but it was the competition was better. You know what I'm saying? And the quality of the teams that we put out that left the town was better. We didn't leave, the Gauchos didn't leave the town with 2 players and 7 mediocre players. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause when you playing against whatever team in whatever town, you playing against the best.
Right.
You're not playing against one of the best with 8 guys that shouldn't be on the team.
Nah.
So I think, and then I think also the adults and the people that are mentoring, coaching the kids, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they're doing a good job, but I think they're doing more harm than good. And we could talk about that later because that's
Listen,
another subject.
I just want to say what you've been doing. I'm very proud of you. You know, I watched you come up as a ball player, then transition to a coach, and now you're one of the top coaches in our city. And I want to say thank you, brother. Keep doing a good job, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
No doubt. So take this around, coach.
Oh, so good. I mean, you see the gym, you see the banners,
Right.
the banners. So we're gonna go downstairs. Let me show you. We're gonna go to the locker room where it all starts. Is that door open? Is that door open down there, Mallory? Now I'm gonna go down there. This is how our kids, man. We go to the locker room, we start that practice.
Listen, I don't want the camera to break once we start going to these rooms, man. This shit is just awesome. All right?
Yeah,
I don't
good.
want to curse, but this is just
Good. So you know, I can take Glenn right here. We get my halftime. We did a conversion from under. So this is where we do our game calls right here on the board.
old school. See how big this is, man?
Yeah.
My gym is not even this big where I work at right now.
So we do our old school. So we do our what's the name? Ain't been nobody in here in months, man.
And this is something that Coach put together personally himself with his staff to make something special for the kids. Over here, they know they have a real program.
This is what we do. You gotta come in here and clean the locker after these guys. These guys are dirty. You know? What we do, we come in here and we I always set the locker, make sure they practice gear is in their locker. We wash it every day. And up here every year, I started this in 2007. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12. Yeah, I started this in 2007 with the mini banners. Of this for every year. I gotta go back for my first 4 or 5 years. I gotta update that. I gotta update that right there.
And this is something you gotta build before you get a really successful program. People think these programs just come, overnight. No, it took a lot of building.
Yeah.
All right. And before, did you start in 2007, or that's when it started?
That's when I started. That's when I built this locker room. So when I built the locker room, I came up with an idea, but I never ever got to finish those years. Now that I'm looking at it now, that we talking about it, I gotta go back and add those first 4 or 5 years. But I got this locker room. That's the year I got the locker room, 2007.
No doubt.
So when I started the renovation in here with the locker room, 2007. So you walk in here, you got little stands on the wall.
Everywhere, when you walk around the gym, the facilities, the workout facilities, there's always sayings, right? Something to be motivated by. And as a ball player, you constantly have to be motivated, or you'll lose your, as we say, je ne sais quoi.
Like I showed.
Listen, when we going down, I'm telling you. The Jets, the Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, they can bring their team here and work out a whole summer and not be missing anything. Probably except for masseuse or something like that.
So then we got some, we do
Oh, this is the pool. Let's go to the pool.
pool therapy, different stuff with the guys. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna add this to our.
Was this pool always here?
It was always here. It was been here since the school been built, but you know, I think it went down in the 80s. So they just redid it. You know what I'm saying? Everything is contact and salt water, not what we use salt water.
Because most schools, I know the last time I think this is my fault.
Nah, this is their new technology, right? Everything is system is experiencing them.
That's crazy. You don't smell chlorine. That's the first time you come to a pool, you don't smell a bunch of chlorine, right?
Yeah, so they did it the right way. You know, too bad we can't get our kids in here.
Wow.
You know?
That's crazy.
So, then we come in here.
They had to build this school like in the 40s, right? This school around
Nah, the school will be 100 years old in 2022. Up there is the visiting team locker room.
Right.
They got us sketched out to do some painting. And this right here is the war room, man.
Yo, into.
It's the war room right here.
Look at this shit right
So, I get a councilman, put $250,000 in here. So, you know, this is $250,000 get you. You got everything in here that you need.
Let me just pick these up, because they're orange, man. Look, G. Come on, G.
You got everything you need here. You can take a walk around and look at all the
What's this,
things.
man? This is crazy.
You know, you got just walk around, look and see if you're not winning, you in the way.
Woo! This
Good.
is prime time USA.
This is a big saying what we believe right here, because a lot of guys come in here and they get the flex and see no mirrors in here. Remember what you looking in the mirror? Remember what you being pretty in here? No mirrors. If you ain't working, you in the way. You in the way that trophy we trying to get. So everything in here has a meaning. Everything went in here was thought that way with the sign, replacing the A, no pain, no gain.
That's real, bro.
You know what I'm saying? The 10 things that require zero talent.
And most gyms have mirrors, right? So
Nah,
guys
no
can
mirror.
stand
Like I
out,
said.
right? And look nice, look the part.
The guy he said we gotta put mirrors in here. I said, no mirrors.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody,
This is G.
I want nobody in here looking in the mirrors looking pretty. Nothing but work.
Being on time, work ethic, body language. Youngsters, let me tell you how important body language is, right? I was at a game between Bannock and Boys High. We're on the side with college coaches, Tom Kachowski, the head refs of the PSAL, and Benjamin Bannock is giving Khalil Brantley the business, knocking them all over the ground. And one thing that I can remember hearing some of the people in the background saying, including Tom Kachowski, was his body language, even though he wasn't getting the calls. Now we can say the same thing for Juan Carlos, because I've seen that happen to him as well. A Jaquan, get fouled, get pushed to the ground, but his body language is intact. It's showing you that he's a player focused on the mission. So he's keeping his body language intact. Energy, attitude, passion, being coachable. Nobody can coach you. It's a wrap, man. Doing the extra and be prepared so you don't never have to get prepared.
Yeah.
It's dope, man.
And last time when you walk in, you look up this time, we love the grind right here. You know what I'm saying? So we like to do a lot of custom stuff, everything.
Man, this is ball, man. You're not finding this in other facilities.
Everything we do, we got the ropes, we got everything else you need. You want to need in here. Everything is custom. The biggest thing we want to do, we didn't want to add a weight room in here that It wasn't custom made.
Come on, man. Real right here, man. Man, coach, this is, you got the pull-up bar.
Yeah, the 2 pull-up machines right there. We got the flyers right there, jumping boxes in the middle. So we left this space open for the exercise and the plyo boxes. It's 6 of them right there, so we can get our jumping on. And like you said, on this board right here, everything is custom. So now when we walk up here, not only did Mr. Barron, we did that gym over, we did this gym over right here.
That's right,
And then one thing they didn't know was the floor, but that's a story for another day.
Right.
When they came in here to do the floor,
Right.
good.
Okay.
So, you got glass all around, you got a regular size court, and you got glass all around. Then we come out.
This that athlete board, right? I was talking about.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show you some back.
This is great.
So you're doing, you talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, on a lot of these old boards, there's a lot of famous people.
Right.
And, people that prestigious people from CEO, the Goldman Sachs CEO, Lloyd Blake Fine, he's on the board over there.
Wow.
Fortunoff, Alan Fortunoff is on the other side. You know the store Fortunoff, your shop.
Yes.
I know you just talking about this shop.
No, let me tell you. I was doing some research on Jefferson and Bud and his winning, coaching career, and I ran into this guy, Nerlin Terrain. They had a huge article in the New York Times about him and saying he was one of the best guards to ever come out of New York City. And Bob Cousy was another, I think he went to Jackson, right? Bob
He was
Cousy.
a Jackson or Rise.
Yes, I think he went to Jackson. If I'm wrong, we'll clear that later. But they said Nerlin Terrain was better than him. So we want to definitely highlight and feature, our guys who paved the way for New York City basketball that we kind of forgot about. But we want to make sure you never forget about Thomas Jefferson. Because when I bring up who's the winning this program in New York City, no one knows that it's DeWitt Clayton. No one. Right? So we want to make sure in our era, when we preserve this history of New York City basketball, they don't forget about Coach Lawrence Bud Pollard and what he did for Thomas Jefferson in his second go around.
There's a lot of guys, I think, that we not talk about, and it's impossible. Like everybody say the greatest, so we say the Stephon. I thought Pearl the greatest.
Yes.
I said something about Stephon because I felt Stephon was a longer pro.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking like, well, you can't take away Pearl is definitely the greatest. But even
He shifted the culture.
Mel Tinsley was a better pro than Pearl. So there's a lot of pro players all through.
So do we is the measurement how long you became a pro?
No.
Or the reason why I mentioned Pearl being the best,
Yeah, he definitely is.
because he shifted the culture. Like when you're a person who shifts the culture.
No player, I think, electrified basketball course like Pearl. In our era. Now, when you speak to the old timers,
They might say somebody else.
it's some old timers. I don't know if we have the knowledge and the background to talk about people that came before. So there's a lot of great players.
That's right.
There's a lot of great players from New York City that were pros and Hall of Famers and that we don't know, we never seen. So
Right.
we only can go by what we seen in our era.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like people now they talk about the Jordans and LeBrons. I'm going with Magic. And
I can say I'm seeing my New York City guy and say Lamar Sidner.
Forget about
Because he won on all levels. High school he won in college, and he won in the pros.
He was an all-time leading scorer. But because he wasn't a guy who usually guards get the most credit. They don't usually give big guys to go. They don't give big guys.
But he had that move. First of all, and we don't give credit to the hook shot.
Yeah.
The unstoppable, blockable shot. Right? The leading scorer in NBA history with one move, basically, man.
He never shot threes. So that was he was doing it with twos. And guard, so basketball is basically a guard game.
Yes.
But you know, as it evolved, the big guys tend to move out, and he was a lot more physical.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot of history in a lot of these public schools. I mean, this is just one of them. But you go through these schools from the James Madison to Fly Williams.
That's right.
To a lot of people in Brownville.
Yeah.
And these areas that were great players. So I think we leave a lot of them out, but I mean, you can talk about who you know and who you like.
Look, I try to do the research the best I can to make sure that every week I highlight someone that played in New York City basketball 20 and 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. I'm having this
I want to ask you a question though.
Oh, before I say it, because I want to forget his name. I'm having this one gentleman on. We're trying to set the schedule. He's a supersonic great, but he's also a John Jay High School great. His name is Don Smith, but he goes by the name of Zayed Abdul Aziz now. And he's going to be in Seattle this weekend with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. My guy's going to let me know he's from Brooklyn. He played for Seattle Supersonics. So we going way back. I just posted him yesterday. And we getting him on the show definitely. Right? But this is a guy who I didn't know about until his nephew contacted me. It was like, yo, look, my uncle played for John Jay. He also played in the NBA, Don Smith.
Yeah, well, I've been doing some research because when the All-Star game was here, they had a poster of all the pros in New York City and Brooklyn. I was like, well, Jeff had most of the pros.
Jeff, it goes Clinton, Thomas Jefferson,
like a
Malloy, LaSalle Lincoln.
Yeah. So I was
So you guys are
these
number
guys.
two.
I'm like, wow.
Y'all said yep. Thomas Jefferson is number 2 as far as sending the most players to the NBA in New York City history.
I think one of my ADs said we have the most professional athletes out of any high schools in the country.
Y'all
one
wrong.
or two.
Y'all wrong
Because
with that,
when
yes.
you consider all the sports.
Yes.
From the Otis Wilsons to the all them other guys, to the, from boxers, from Riddick Bowe to people don't understand Lloyd Gaines went here. Lloyd Gaines I want to say in the class with Riddick Bowe.
Listen, Lloyd Daniel gave us 29 in 1980.
He was a freshman that year, right?
Freshman. We were both freshmen. And we were both freshmen. We were both sophomores. We were both juniors. We won it that year. Lloyd dropped out, went down to Longburg.
Came back and ended up in Jackson for a couple of years.
No, that was the Jackson year, the 86 year when we won it. He was at Jackson. They played against Cardozo and they lost. But we'll talk about that off camera.
And I want a question for you. we talking about that. I want to ask you, what makes somebody a legend? Because a lot of people go, oh, I was a legend, or he's a legend. Everybody can't get that legend status.
No.
So what's your criteria for a legend?
One of my criteria is moving the culture.
Moving the culture.
The basketball culture.
So pretty much, you want to say like bringing something to the table.
Bringing something to the table that somebody else didn't. Right. Somebody who also exemplified their basketball excellence outside of the city as well. Not only inside the city, but also, and they came back and did it here. You got to do it here first, and then go outside the city.
So you go outside the city.
Yes.
Yep.
Gotta do it here first, then go outside the city.
Now you know this guy right here, Leroy Ellis, was a St. John's great and played for both of these, Leroy and Tony Jackson, 2 years was All-Americans and was in the St. John's Hall of Fame.
Tony Jackson was my coach's hero.
Yeah.
My coach, Bobby Hartstein, I got him on camera saying this, that his favorite player in Brooklyn and New York at all times was a guy who went to his school, was Tony Jackson.
Leroy Ellis' son was LeFar Ellis, who played in Kentucky, who went to play in the pros. That's his father.
Wow.
So he got Brooklyn ties. A lot of these guys got Brooklyn ties.
Right.
A lot of these guys got Brooklyn ties.
What made you ask me that question?
What?
The legend.
The legend, because
I should do a show just on that.
Because a lot of people say, oh, great, legend, great. When you use the word great and legend, like I know guys who put legend on their name who never got a JV ball.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
True.
you know, now we older, they talk about how good they was, but when we was outside, we was playing, we was around, you wasn't around.
Yes.
But now, when you tell a story 30, 40 years later, there's nobody to verify your existence.
Right.
So, you know, it's basically your word of mouth. But I don't remember certain guys. I haven't seen, because, you know, Instagram and social media is a lot.
Yes.
A lot of guys, oh, I was a legend, I was nice. Where? When?
Right.
Where was I at? I was around those times.
Right.
And I was a kid that I wasn't just a book. I was playing all over the city.
Right.
But I'm just curious. So we gotta do a hashtag. Knock it off. You're not a legend. Hashtag. Knock it off. You're not a legend. Hashtag. Knock it off, buddy.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.